Welcome to, this is Running by Run Club's Yoga. So we're going to do some standing postures, seated postures, but tonight we're going to start in a child's pose. So let me just put some music on for you so we can have some sound. It's a quiet one, Mark, stop pulling faces. Right, okay, so let's start in a child's pose. So just bring the knees together tonight. And then just resting the chest onto the thighs. Just release the hands behind you and just resting the tops of the hands onto the soles of the feet. So perhaps you're releasing the head down towards the mat, or perhaps you're just resting the forehead onto the knees. Just take the posture that's most comfortable for you. Just start to relax down. As you inhale in, just see if you can draw the air in and just expand through the side ribs. So you feel the body stretch out, coming towards the edge of the thighs. And relaxing down each exhalation, just see if you can soften the body down a little further, just releasing the chest towards the legs. Start to bring some stillness and calmness into your mind. The first postures normally in practice is to start to invite the mind to still, the thoughts to quieten down, and just allow yourself to just be. Now as you inhale, just start to lift the head slightly. Let's just release the hands in front of us. So as you walk the hands forward, just make prayer posture with the hands. Bring the palms to meet. You're going to bend the elbows, bring the thumbs behind the back of the neck, and then just walk the elbows forward. So you start to stretch out under the triceps, still bringing the bottom back towards the heels. Resting the chest towards the thighs. You start to feel a stretch underneath the tricep. Slowly start to straighten out through the hands. And then let's just TP the fingers over towards the right side of the mat. Just planting the left hand onto the right hand. Push back through the left sit bone. Push back right through the left fingertips. And really stretch out through that side waist. Start lowering the chest towards the thighs. Gaze between the forearms. Gently starting to walk the hands back to centre. As we reach centre, just neutralise the spine by reaching the fingertips forward, push back to the sit bones. And then slowly walking the hands over to the left. So planting the right hand on top of the left, push out through the right fingertips, push back through the right sit bones, stretch out through that side waist. And then slowly bringing the hands forward, just stretch out through the spine. But this time, separating the hands out, shoulder width apart, spread the fingers wide. Let's inhale, lift and draw that up into a kneeling posture. So as you bring yourself into your kneeling posture, stack the hips over the knees, shoulders are over the wrists. Let's just inhale, take the gaze forward, dip the spine down, tip the tailbone up to the sky. And as we exhale, let's just round the spine, tuck the head, see if you can separate the shoulder blades. Inhaling, gazing forward. Exhaling round. Now slowly bringing that back to a neutral spine. Let's just walk the hands forward. Bring the thumbs to touch. Inch the fingertips further away down the mat. Again, the hips are still stacked over the knees. You're trying to aim to get the chest onto the mat. So you really feel a deep stretch down the top of the shoulders. Perhaps you rest the forehead. Perhaps you rest the crown of the head. But gently see if you can draw the chest between the arms and release it down as you stretch out through the tops of the shoulders. Now grounding down through the knees, start to engage through the core, pulling through the pelvic floor. Let's start to draw the arms back towards the knees. At the same time, release up to kneeling. As we inhale, bring the palms to meet. And as we exhale, let's just TP the right hand down. Perhaps you plant it onto the right thigh, or perhaps you release it down towards TP fingers onto the mat beside you. Really stretch out through the left side waist. Rounding down through the knees, let's inhale, draw that back to center. And as we exhale, let's take that to the other side. So either left hand onto the left thigh, or you TP the fingers onto the side of the mat, stretch out through the right side waist. Slowly drawing that back to center. As we exhale, let's plant the hands down onto the mat. Inhale, gazing forward, dip the spine down. And as we exhale, separating the shoulder blades, draw the bottom back towards the heels and meet into a child's pose. Slowly drawing the hands back, let's just draw the body up, sitting onto the heels. Let's inhale, sweep the arms up, this time interlacing the fingers, turn the palms away, draw the triceps by the ears. Then gently twisting the torso over to the right, gaze over that right shoulder and stack the chest towards the side of the mat. Slowly drawing that back through center, really stretch and lift the arms up, and then just roll that over to the left side. Bringing that back to center, let's just release the hands down in front of us, turn the palms to face you, rounding through the spine, tuck the head, and just bending the elbows, allow the spine just to round down. Now bring your gaze back first. Let's just replant the hands onto the mat, shoulder width. This time we're releasing the elbows and we're coming onto our forearms. Draw and lengthen the legs out down the mat. At the same time, engage the core, suck in through the pelvic floor, engage the navel into the spine. Spread the hands wide onto the mat and meeting into your dolphin plank. There's an option just to stay here into your dolphin plank. Well, there's an option to come with me where we roll onto the outside edge of the right foot, see if you can dip that right hip down towards the mat. Then exhale, draw that back to center. As we inhale, roll that over to the left. Exhale, center. Let's do 3 more. Inhale, roll right. Exhale, draw center. Inhale, roll left. Exhale, center. Make sure the bottom's not dipping down. Inhale, right. Exhaling, core is strong. Inhale, left. Exhaling, center. Last one. Rolling over to the right. Just feel it into the side waist. Draw that back through center. Push out through the heels. Rolling over to the left. Bringing that back to center. Releasing the knees now down to the mat. Let's re-engage the hands onto the mat. Making sure the knees are hip distance apart. Inhale, draw the left knee in, touch it onto the forehead. Let's exhale, lengthen that away. Inhale, draw in, knee to nose. Arch the spine. Exhaling, lengthen. Inhale, draw in. This time as we exhale, lengthen away, release that left leg behind you, flex out through the right foot. Let's release the left hand out, left palm facing down. Perhaps you stay here with the core engaged, or perhaps you bring the hand and foot to meet, pressing the hand and foot into each other, gazing forward. Gently releasing that back to our tabletop. Just draw the inner elbows to face the short edge of the mat. Let's hinge forward so the shoulders are over the fingertips. And then lowering the chest and chin down into our Bhujangasana. Let's inhale, draw that either into a low cobra, or you can bring it into an up dog. Engaging the knees onto the mat, let's draw that back to your tabletop. Inhaling left knee into the forehead. Exhaling, lengthen away. Inhale, draw in knee to nose. Exhaling, lengthen. Inhale, draw in. This time as we exhale, lengthen, hold it here, flexing out through that left foot, left toes pointing down. Releasing the right hand out in front of you, palm down, facing down towards the mat or the floor in front of you. Perhaps you bring the hand and foot to meet. Push the hand and foot into each other, arch the spine. And let's slowly start to release that back to our tabletop. This time, tucking the toes, again engaging through the core. Let's just inhale, lift the knees slightly off the mat, stacking the shoulders over the wrists. Opportunity to stay here, or again, you can dip the hips over towards the right. Exhale, draw that back to center, keep the knees low. Inhale, drop left. Exhale, center. Let's do 3 more. Inhale, right. Exhale, center. Inhale, left. Exhale, center. Keep the core strong, navel into the spine, knees are low as we take it to the right. Drawing it back to center, let's take it over to the left. Drawing that back to center, now let's hold it here. And then pushing the chest back towards the thighs, let's start to straighten out through the legs as you lift the hips up towards the sky. Now just have a little gentle pedal out. So bend your right knee, allow the left heel just to track down to the mat. Left leg as straight as you can get it. Then bending out through the left knee, let's allow the right heel just to track down through the mat. And just giving yourself a nice big stretch at the back of the calf muscles. Then bending both knees, let's draw the chest towards the thighs. Lift the sit bones up towards the sky. And then start to lower the heels down. They don't need to touch the mat. You're just allowing them to track down towards the mat and activate the thigh muscles and draw the kneecaps up the thighs. Now slowly walking the hands back towards the feet. As you walk the hands back, ground down through the feet, spread the toes wide onto the mat. Perhaps you allow the hands just to rest down by the feet, or perhaps you prefer to grab alternate elbows. Just lift the sit bones up towards the sky and visualize drawing the thigh bones inside the hip sockets. Just allow the head to hang heavy. If you're grabbing alternate elbows, perhaps you just want to have a little gentle sway side to side, just releasing any tension in the back of the legs. And gradually releasing the elbows, let's ragdoll the body all the way up to standing. Inhale, sweeping up, bring the palms to touch. As we exhale, bringing the hands to heart center, let's fold through the hips and fold that all the way forward. Inhaling, gazing forward, take the hands onto the shins, nice straight spine. As we exhale, let's just refold. Inhale, draw that all the way up to standing. Exhaling, bringing the hands into heart center. Grounding down through the left foot. Let's keep that left foot planted onto the mat, lift up through the right knee. Perhaps you can align the right knee with the right hip or higher. Bringing the left hand onto the right knee. Let's see if we can sweep that right arm behind us and stack the chest towards the side of the mat. Now slowly planting the right foot down in front of you. This time bringing the hands back to heart center. Ground down through the right foot. Let's see if you can lift the left leg up. Flex out through the left foot. Push the left heel away. Both legs are straight. Dropping the left hip down. Take the gaze to the head of the mat. Now slowly see if you can draw this all the way up to standing. Left knee comes out ahead of you. Right hand onto the left knee. Release the left hand behind us. Take the gaze to the left fingertips if you can. And slowly planting that left foot down now at the head of the mat. Let's bring the right foot up to meet it. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. As we exhale, let's fold all the way forward. Inhale, look up, lengthen. Exhaling, hands down. Let's step back and meet into a high plank. Hinging the shoulders beyond the fingertips. Option to lower to knees, or you can lower down, back chaturanga, elbows, skim the side ribs. Pushing forward with the toes, let's inhale, draw that into an up dog. And as we exhale, push back through the heels and meet into a downward facing dog. And separating the feet out, hip distance apart. Again, let's bend the right knee and allow the left heel to track down towards the mat. And then slowly start to bend through the left knee and allow the right heel to track down to the mat. Bending both knees, draw the chest towards the thighs. Lifting the sit bones up towards the sky, start to straighten out through both legs and allow both heels to track to the mat. Gradually walking the hands back. Let's see if we can deepen our forward fold here. So lift the sit bones up towards the sky, take the body weight towards the middle of the foot and just draw the hands back towards the legs. Again, option to grab alternate elbows if you prefer. Grounding down through both feet. Let's inhale, sweep that all the way up to standing. Exhaling, releasing the hands to heart center. Grounding down through the right foot. Let's lift the left knee off the mat. Spreading the toes wide onto the mat. Right hand comes onto the left knee. Left hand sweeps behind you. Stack the chest towards the side edge of the mat. Then slowly planting that left foot down on the mat, bring the hands back to heart center. Let's see if we can lift the right leg off the mat. Flex out through the right foot, push that right heel away. Both legs are nice and strong, both legs are straight. And slowly bringing that right knee all the way forward, draw that up to standing. Left hand comes onto the right knee, right arm goes out behind you, stack the chest. And we're aiming for the head of the mat now, so as you plant the right foot down, bring the left foot back to meet it and bring the hands into heart center. Inhaling, lift and lengthen. Exhale, folding down. Inhaling, let's gaze forward. As we exhale, hands down, let's step it back and meet into a high plank. Again, option to lower to knees if you prefer, or hinging forward really onto the tips of your toes. Let's start to draw the elbows into the side ribs, roll forward, draw that all the way into an up dog. And as we exhale, push back through the heels and meet that into a downward facing dog. Inhaling the right leg up into the sky behind you. Drop that right hip down and align it with the left. Let's draw the right knee all the way forward. So as you bring the right knee into the chest, raise up onto the left toes. Let's plant the right foot at the head of the mat. Releasing and aligning the left heel, so the left foot's at 45 degrees. Let's inhale, sweep the arms up, draw the palms to touch, gaze up towards the sky. Try and bring the triceps by the ears and straighten out through both arms. Now leaving the legs where they are, let's start to sweep the hands all the way behind us. As we sweep them behind us, interlace the fingers, gaze up. And as we exhale, let's draw the right shoulder on the inside of that right leg. Lift the fingers up towards the sky, drop the crown of the head down towards the mat. Nice bend in that right knee. Now let's start to push out through both feet. Start to bring the gaze forward. At the same time, raise up onto the left toes. Let's start to shimmy the hands down the back of the leg. Take the gaze up towards the sky. Right knees bent, right thigh parallel with the mat. Arms tracking down that back of that left thigh. Then bringing the hands and releasing the hands, let's sweep them up into a nice crescent lunge. Pushing out through the fingertips, let's slowly lower that left knee all the way down to the mat. Releasing the left toes, take the gaze, sink into that left hip. Gaze between the palms if you can. And then slowly planting the hands down either side of that right foot. Let's start to straighten out through the right leg. So you hinge the hips back. Perhaps you leave the toes down, or perhaps you prefer to draw the toes back towards the face. Bring the right thigh bone inside the hip socket and roll the left hip forward. Now let's slowly start to re-bend through that right leg. Take the left hand by the side of the right foot. Tuck up through the back toes, lift up through the back knee. And let's sweep the right arm all the way up to the sky so we're into a side angle. See if you can stack the shoulders and gaze towards the right fingertips. Right shoulder stacked over the left. Rolling that right hand all the way over now. Let's plant it down either side of the right foot. Right foot comes back to meet the left. We're back into a high plank. Let's lower down through chaturanga. Inhale, draw that into an up dog. And as we exhale, push back through the heels and meet that into a downward facing dog. Engaging the right foot into the mat. Let's inhale, lift that left leg up. Engage the core, navel into spine, drawing the left knee into the chest. Hovering forward, take the gaze between the thumbs. Then plant the left foot at the head of the mat. Look back at the right foot, align the right heel so it's in line with the left heel. Bending through that left leg, let's inhale, sweep that all the way up and we're meeting into a warrior one. So the right hip's coming forward, the left hip's drawing back. The triceps are skimming by the ears. See if you can gaze up towards the ceiling. Now leaving the legs where they are, let's start to draw the hands forward, just sweeping them all the way behind the back, interlacing the fingers. Let's start to draw the left shoulder on the inside of that right thigh. Fingers are raising up towards the sky, crown of the head down towards the mat. The legs are active, right leg straight, left knee bent. The ground down through your feet. As you slowly draw the torso up, raise up onto the right toes, releasing that right heel off the mat. And then see if you can draw the arms down that back leg and take the gaze towards the ceiling. Sink down into the left thigh. Let's start to release the hands. We're drawing them all the way back to the ceiling. Triceps skimming the ears. Then slowly lowering the right knee all the way down to the mat. We're into an Anjali Asana or low lunge. So you can take the gaze up towards the ceiling. Now hinging the hands forward, let's plant them down either side of that left foot. Start to draw the left foot, straighten out through the left leg. Left toes stay down, or perhaps you draw them towards the face for a deeper stretch down that left hamstring. Left hip inside the hip socket, right hip rolls forward. Then slowly bending through that left leg, right hand plants down in front of you. Re-engage through the right foot, lifting the right knee. At the same time, let's sweep the left arm all the way up, stack the left shoulder on top of the right, and see if you can gaze towards the left fingertips. Rolling the left hand all the way over. Now let's plant it down on the other side of the left foot. Let's take the left foot back to meet the right, and we're back into a high plank. Lowering down through chaturanga, inhale, draw that into an up dog. Exhaling, pushing back through the heels and meet into a downward facing dog. Inhaling, gazing forward. Let's make our way all the way up to the head of the mat. And as we exhale, let's take a nice deep fold here. Just stack the ankles, knees and hips in one nice long straight line. Lift the sit bones up towards the sky. Then grounding down through both feet, let's inhale, draw that all the way up to standing. exhaling, releasing hands to heart center. Okay, inhaling, lift and lengthen. Exhaling, folding down. Inhaling, gazing forward. Exhaling, hands down. Let's just step back and meet into a high plank. Again, there's always the option to lower to knees. Let's take a vinyasa, so you lower down through chaturanga. Inhale, draw that into an up dog, resting onto the top of the feet, releasing the knees off the mat. And then push back through the heels, engage, push the sit bones up towards the sky, and meet into a downward facing dog. Let's inhale, draw the right leg up to the sky. We're going to bend that right knee. So you're going to draw the right heel in towards the bottom, right hip stacked on top of the left, and gaze underneath that right arm. So you're just opening up through that right hip. Now keeping the right knee bent, let's start to draw that right knee, and you're going to track it in towards the right elbow. So as you draw the right knee forward, raise up onto the left toes, see if you can touch the right knee onto the right elbow. And let's plant the right foot on the outside edge of that right hand. And just meet into a wing dragon or a lizard lunge. Right toes now maybe onto the floor by the side of the mat, right heel onto the mat. Just have a bit of gentle movement here, just gradually rocking forward and back. Now let's start to lower the right left knee down towards the mat and just release the left toes. So perhaps you want to have a little gentle sway side to side from here. So you could just gradually start to roll onto the outside edge of the right foot, just gazing at the right sole of your foot if you can. Really opening up through that right hip. Perhaps you prefer to take yourself a little bit deeper. You could perhaps come down onto the elbows or come down onto a prop if you've got a block or a bolster. So just allow the hip, the left hip, just to track down towards the mat as you open up the outside edge of that right hip. So for those of you who come down onto your elbows, let's start to release the hands back towards the mat. Planting down through the hands, just draw that left hip back and stack it over the left knee, but leave the right foot where it is. You may have to walk your hands back slightly towards that left knee. You start to feel a stretch on the right inner thigh. Perhaps the right toes stay pointed, or perhaps you prefer to flex that right foot. Just see if you can change the dynamic of the stretch into that right leg. Now as we bring your gaze forward, let's start to rebend that right leg. Plant down through both hands. Let's tuck up through the back toes, lift up through the back knee. Grounding down through the hands and the right foot, let's draw that left leg up to meet it, and let's meet into a malasana. So the toes are out mat width apart, you're drawing the hands into heart center, you're into your yoga squat. If you find this particularly challenging onto the heels, it's possible to take something under the heels just to support the feet. See if you can draw the sit bones down towards the mat, keep length into the spine, hands into heart center, elbows against the thighs. And then start to lift the hips up and back. Let's start to bring this into a forward fold. Releasing the hands down, either grabbing alternate elbows, the feet stay wide, or perhaps you release the hands on the inside of the feet. Lift the sit bones up towards the sky, really stretch out. And then gradually ragdolling the body all the way up to standing. Let's draw the feet back together and meet at the head of the mat. Inhaling, sweeping the arms all the way up to the sky, bringing the palms to touch. As we exhale, let's fold all the way forward. Inhaling, taking the gaze ahead. As we exhale, hands down, let's step back and meet into a high plank. Again, you can lower to knees or hinge forward and take your full chaturanga. Inhale, draw that into an up dog, gaze to the sky. And as we exhale, push back through the heels, at the same time, lift the sit bones and let's meet into a downward facing dog. So same pose as the other side, grounding down through the right foot. Let's lift the left leg up, bending that left knee, stack the left hip on top of the right, and just gaze underneath that left arm. So you want to see if you can draw the left heel in towards the bottom. Core is activated, right leg's nice and strong. So as we draw that left knee forward, we're going to keep that core activated. So you're going to see if you can touch that left knee onto the left elbow. Shoulders are now stacked over the wrists and you raise up onto the right toes. Let's plant that left foot on the outside edge of that left hand. So the toes are onto the floor and the heels onto the mat. So just here, just have a gentle rock forward and back. So you're easing into your right hip flexor. At the same time, we're actually starting to open up through that left hip. So perhaps you just prefer this movement, or perhaps you want to release the right knee down to the mat, untuck the toes, and just sink those hips a little deeper. At the same time, you can start to roll on the outside edge of the left foot and just take a little gaze at the sole of your foot. For those of you who want to just take this a little bit deeper, perhaps you release the elbows down towards the floor, the mat, or a prop. So you're allowing the right hip to sink down, and you're externally rotating through the left hip. So the left knee's winging out to the side, you're gazing at the bottom of your foot. Okay. So for those of you who come down onto your elbows, let's re-engage the hands onto the mat. Retuck through the back toes, lift up through the back knee, and we're coming back to Armalasana. So the right foot's coming all the way forward and meeting with the left. The hands are back into heart center. So just take the feet out around that width apart. It just makes it that little bit less challenging. Just taking the sit bones down to the mat, grow out through the crown of the head. But this time as we ground down through the feet, let's see if we can lift the sit bones. The feet are out nice and wide. Lift the sit bones up towards the sky. And again, either grabbing alternate elbows, the hands come down to the mat. Straighten out through both legs. See if you can play around with taking the body weight towards the middle of the foot, perhaps even to the ball of the foot. Just soften the muscles in the back and just release the crown of the head down towards the mat. Now pressing down through both feet, let's inhale, sweep that all the way up, draw the palms to touch. As we exhale, bring the hands into heart center and just bring the feet back to meet at the head of the mat. Okay, let's take one last throw and then we'll go to the mat. Inhaling, lift and lengthen. Exhaling, folding down. Inhaling, gazing forward. As we exhale, hands come down, let's step back and meet into a high plank. Rolling forward the toes, cores engaged, shoulders shift beyond the wrists. Lower down to your chaturanga, inhale, draw that into an up dog. And as we exhale, push back through the heels and meet that into a downward facing dog. Okay, just taking ourselves into pigeon posture now. Inhaling, drawing the right leg up to the sky. We're going to draw that right knee in. As we draw the right knee in, start to try and draw it towards the right wrist. And then draw the right foot round towards the left wrist. And let's slowly start to lower ourselves down towards the mat. So, depending on how tight your hips feel, you may want to take a prop underneath the right side of your bottom. You may want to draw that right heel in towards the left hip. But for the full expression of the posture, it's better to have the right knee and ankle aligned, the right foot flexed to protect the knee. And then you just roll that left hip down and take the gaze forward. So using the hands to support you, just really feel an opening up through the outside edge of the right hip. Now we can take this into a sleeping swan, just by taking the hands forward. Perhaps you just keep up onto the hands, onto the fingertips, whichever you prefer. Perhaps you release down onto the elbows. Just allow the chest to track towards that right shin. And then releasing the left hip bone down towards the mat. Just find your edge. So you should feel it on the outside edge of the right hip and the front of the left hip. So allow the upper body just to soften down as you release the tension out. Just make a connection with your breath here. So the inhalations are just to take some information from the body about where you're feeling tension. And the exhalations are to release that tension away. So just equalize the length between each inhalation and each exhalation. Let's just slowly start to push out through the hands. If you've released all the way down, let's draw that back to seated. Let's see if we can swing that left leg all the way forward. So draw the right knee in now, so it's tracking towards the front of the mat. Step the left foot over the right thigh. Taking the left hand behind us, let's sweep the right arm up to the ceiling. And then we're going to take a twist. So we're taking the right elbow over that left thigh, and we're gazing back at the left shoulder. Now slowly bringing the gaze back, let's just bring the body back. Let's draw that left leg all the way back behind us, plant down through the hands. Tuck up through the left toes, lift the body off the mat, and then bring the right leg back to meet the left, and let's move back into a downward facing dog. So here, just have a little gentle sway side to side, just release tension into the hips. And spreading the fingers wide onto the mat, hands to shoulder width, ground down through the right foot. Let's inhale, lift the left leg up to the sky. As you draw that left knee in, we're going to draw that left knee in towards the left wrist. So we're going to do the same pose other side. Left toes come in towards the right wrist. And you slowly lower the torso down towards the mat. Again, if you need to take a prop, take something underneath the left side of the bottom just to support that left sit bone. Bring the gaze towards the front of the mat. Drop the right hip down. Try and keep the body nice and long. So perhaps you stay to prefer in an upright position, or perhaps you TP the hands forward, see how that feels. Perhaps you can release down onto the elbows or onto a cushion or pillow. Or perhaps you release all the way down. But the main aim of the pose is to release tension on the outside of that left hip and also the front of the right hip. Then just use the weight of the body just to soften down, increase the tension into the legs, and use the breath. Inhaling, taking information from where you may be carrying tension, and exhaling, releasing and sighing that tension away. And let's slowly start to draw that all the way up to seated. Let's just sweep the right leg all the way forward. The left knee's tracking towards the middle of the mat, and the right foot's on the outside of that left thigh. Equalize the weight between the two sit bones. Right hand comes out behind us, sweeping the left arm up to the sky. And the left elbow tracks over that right thigh, and the gaze is towards the right shoulder. So you're stacking and taking the chest towards the side edge of your mat. Let's gently start to bring the gaze back. Let's just release the arms. And this time we're going to release the legs. Plant the feet down. Lift up through that left leg. Plant that down on the opposite side of the mat. And let's just have a gentle windscreen wiper, releasing tension into the hips, just rolling them side to side. Now slowly drawing the soles of the feet towards each other. Bring the soles of the feet to touch. Sit forward of the sit bones. So perhaps you take the hands behind you. Make sure you're rolling forward of the sit bones, not rounding through the lower spine. So there's an option to stay here, or perhaps hinge a little bit forward. Perhaps you hinge down onto your elbows. Or perhaps you take your hands underneath the shins. Bring the hands to the top of the feet. And you're trying to trap the forehead towards the instep. So you're into a butterfly position, a really deep hip opener. And let's very slowly start to bring the gaze towards the feet. Let's just unthread the arms for those of you who've threaded the arms. Let's just take this a little deeper now. So you're going to draw the heels in towards the bottom, just grabbing the outside edges of the ball of the big toe. Just see if you can separate the soles of the feet, so you're almost like opening the feet like a book, just allowing the knees to track down towards the mat. Keep the core strong, so think about sucking in through the pelvic floor, rolling forward with the sit bones, and just see if you can hinge very slightly forward, and it might help your knees just lower a little bit further down. You want to work to a point of tension where you can feel it in the hip sockets, but not a point of pain. Now slowly rolling back onto the sit bones, let's just draw the hands under the knees, bringing the knees back to meet. Let's just take a little bit of a core, just bringing the knees into the chest, grab behind the thighs. See if you can sit up nice and tall. So starting from the sit bones, just equalise the weight between the two sit bones on the mat. Just suck in through the pelvic floor, draw the navel into the spine, really engage that core. And then leaving the connection of the thighs onto the chest, perhaps you can bring the hands around and hug the thighs in, or perhaps you can challenge yourself further by releasing the hands, palms to face each other, but the thighs are still hugged in towards the chest and the gaze is forward. The spine is nice and tall, you're coming out through the crown of the head. So option just to stay there, or option to start to straighten out through the legs. Try not to roll back onto the sit bones too much. And we're going to slowly lower this down to the mat. So you're going to slowly push out through the toes, gradually lower the back down. Try not to round through the spine, keep the core sucked in. Just hovering that off the mat, core's nice and strong. And then gently releasing everything down towards the mat. Leaving the left leg long, let's draw that right thigh in towards the chest. Hug it in nice and tight. And then grabbing hold of the right knee with the left hand. Let's just release the right hand out to the side, right shoulder blades engaged onto the mat, right palm facing up. Let's roll that right knee over towards the left and then just gaze backwards over the right shoulder. The right knee does not need to come down to the mat, you just need to keep the right shoulder blade engaged down and the twist is into the mid-back. Now let's slowly start to draw the knee back to centre. Let's bring the left knee in to meet it, hugging both knees into the chest, round the spine, down into the mat. And then lengthening the right leg away down the mat. Let's take that left knee into the right hand. Left arm comes out to the side, and you're going to roll that left knee over to the right and gaze over the left shoulder. So just anchor that left shoulder blade down. And slowly drawing that back to center. Let's again bring both knees into the chest. So perhaps you just activate your spine into the mat, or perhaps you just mobilize all the way through the hip joints by just rolling the knees out to the side, bringing the knees back to meet. And then when we're ready, we're going to slowly start to lengthen the legs out down the mat. Just bringing the feet out, mat width apart. Just allow the toes to roll out and the palms to face up by the side of you. So you're just taking rest, allowing the body to relax down. But most importantly, giving your mind that period of calm, creating that little sanctuary. Let's connect with the breath and connect with the sensations within your body. Now let's just slowly start to bring a little bit of movement back in. Just rolling out to the ankles and the wrists. Just pointing the fingers and toes. Gradually walking the legs back towards each other. Let's just raise the arms overhead. Resting the back of the hands on the mat or floor ahead of you, pointing the toes. Let's lengthen out through the body. Roll the shoulder blades out onto the mat. And slowly walking the feet up the mat. At the same time, push the lower spine down. Draw the knees into the chest. Wrap the arms around the legs. Let's just have a nice big hug of the knees into the chest. Perhaps bringing the head up to the knees. And gently releasing the head back down, just grab behind the thighs. And let's just gradually start to rock forward and back until eventually we can rock all the way up into seated. And just bring your hands into heart center. And always give yourself gratitude for your practice. Always delight in what your body can achieve. But it's always good just to take that period of time to bring stillness and calmness to your mind and forget all the troubles of the day. Thank you very much for letting me guide you. Hope you have an amazing Monday night. Namaste. Thank you very much, everybody. Hope you're all okay. It's a bit of a hippie one tonight. We all good? Put my glasses back on so I can see. Thank you, Valerie. Nice backdrop again.
Maybe someday soon.
I know, it's always opening up. We're all there. Yes.
We're not far from Glasgow City. They've got their curtailed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it might spread.
Oh,
We just need to wait and see.
yeah. You've probably got different rulings, haven't you? So,
Yeah.
oh,
Thank
nice
you,
to
Claire.
see you. Take care. Thank you, Holly. Thank you. Oh, thanks, Joanne.
See you soon.
Bye.